75-year-old child psychiatrist in California arrested last week on charges that he molested three patients that were ages 9, 11, and 12 at the time. It is a disgusting case, but the worst part is there are likely a ton of other victims who are never going to get the justice they deserve. The real story is this monster, and let me say his name very clearly here in case there are still victims out there, Dr. William Ayres, there's his picture. Allegedly, he has been molesting kids under his care for so long that the statute of limitations has run out for many of them. Listen to this. Under a California law that just went into effect last January, child victims can pursue criminal charges only until their 28th birthday. Before that law, they only had 10 years from the day of molestation. But either way, why is there a statute of limitations at all? You know, I have been saying on this program for a while that we're separating ourselves in the country. Usually it's about politics. We're just dividing ourselves between, left and right instead of right and wrong. The separation goes deeper than the elephant and the donkey. This is it. It is a disconnection from our own laws and we the people. We say we care about children, right? But then, somehow or another, we've got arbitrary statutes of limitations for a crime that changes the life of a child forever. Are you telling me that these monsters aren't going to molest again? Are you telling me that the pain of a child being raped ends when they're 28? If you believe that, you know what? I want you to send me a letter, because I guarantee that it's going to be written with something like pig's urine and crayon. Honestly, the number of non-insane people who will send a letter, supporting this will be zero. In fact, I'll bet you that I could get more coherent, more well-reasoned letters from people who believe this guy should be castrated with a pickle fork than I do from apologists. When a child is molested, a part of them dies. To me, that means the statute of limitations for child molestation should never die. Wendy Murphy is a former prosecutor and law professor at the New England School of Law. Wendy, a statute of limitations? What?
Yeah. First let's clear up one misnomer. People think of this as a constitutional rights problem. That's one of the reasons we're not getting the job done in a lot of states in this country. Defense attorneys, the ACLU, and all their friends run to the legislature and say, come on, you're going to violate the constitutional rights of these guys if you let the statute go on and on. But you know what, Glenn? They are wrong. And that's why it's called a statute of limitations and not a constitutional right to a limitation period.
Well, hang on just a second. We don't have a statute of limitations for murder, do we?
We don't, and we don't have to have one for child rape is exactly my point, but there are people in positions of power who think we can't get the job done in the legislature because it's unconstitutional to let the clock keep running. And I really want to hammer this point home. There is no constitutional right to stop the clock on child rape, period. End of discussion.
There are 21 people that have come forward and said, this man raped me in his psychiatrist office. 21. Only 3 are under 28. Only 3 now can press charges against this guy out of 21, and those are the ones who have come forward. This is an outrage.
Look, there is no question that of those 21, and only 3 are allowed to come forward, even that collective total probably represents only a small percentage of the kids he actually hurt, because so few kids ever report. And you know what, Glenn, the message sent to guys like this in positions of trust, and he's not just like a coach or a teacher, he's a psychiatrist who once headed up the child abuse subspecialty for the APA.
Oh my gosh.
And this is a guy who abused that position of authority, abused his position of trust, and has the capacity to so manipulate the victims into silence that he knew damn well, as long as he kept them quiet long enough, he could literally spit in their faces. And that's the problem with the statute of limitations. It incentivizes the abusers to be especially brutal and manipulative in the abuse because they know if they keep the victims quiet long enough, they walk away scot-free.
Wendy, thanks. That's the real story tonight. If you'd like to read more about